Okay, back in section 6.1, we are completing numbers 11 and 12. I already went over the formula that arc length is equal to R. That's your R value right there, times your theta, which is your central angle. In problem number 11, from your MyMathLab homework outline, let's see, you are given a radius of 35 feet. You're going to need the units to go with you as you do these problems. And a central angle. Central angle is the name we give to the angle at the center of the circle in between the two radii. And they did give it to you in radians. A fraction turns into a decimal, and radians means decimal. So they even tell you that by putting the word radian there. So when you're doing any kind of a problem with a formula, write the formula first just to help you get focused and then begin plugging in. Sometimes you're going to be given these two things, and that'll be the easy kind of problem you can have because you won't have to actually solve an equation. You'll just have to multiply. But if I give you this and this, you're going to have to move that over here. That means you need equation solving skills in order to isolate R. So they'll give you any two of these three things and you'll solve for the one that you don't have. Now they've made it very easy on you in this particular problem. They've given you R and theta. For radius, they've given you 35 feet. And for theta, they've given you 1/7 of a radian. Radian just means decimal, so you don't really need to write it here. It's not a unit like feet or seconds or anything like that. Excuse the noise in the background. It just started to thunder. So, all right. So now when you multiply this out, remember, just so you don't use the 35 on the wrong number here. This is the same thing as 35 over 1. And when you're multiplying fractions, it's top times top, bottom times bottom. So you're faced with this fraction. Of course, you're expected to reduce it. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So that means the arc length is 5 feet. This last problem, number 12, you're going to find the length of S again. You're given radius again, 50 miles. You're given central angle again. That's the theta that you see in the formula. Only this time you're being given the theta in degrees, and that is not usable in degrees. It needs to be in radians. So write your formula so you don't accidentally plug things in the wrong place. Let's get this in radian form. That's what we did in problems 4 through 8, I think it was. So it's 21 degrees. We're going to convert it into radian form so that we can use it in this formula. This formula will only accept radian type thetas. So I want to convert into radians. So radians goes in the top, a review of how to convert, and degrees goes on the bottom. The degrees will cancel because you have the same symbol top and bottom, which is what makes anything cancel. And what you have now is 21 pi over 180. That's the same thing as 21 degrees, but in pi form, in radian form. No need to reduce it because, look, you're going to be rounding your answer to 3 decimal places. Anytime the problem says round, it is a complete calculator problem. Maybe not in the first or second step, like in this step. You don't want to convert that to a decimal right away because you could lose. By converting it into a decimal too soon, you could round off so severely that you're too far away from the real answer. And MyMathLab is very picky. So I would leave it as exit. Don't do any rounding until the very end of the problem. Okay, so I haven't done any rounding yet. I'm putting the exact 50 miles that they gave me, and then I'm multiplying it by my theta now that it's in radian form, 21 pi over 80. Then I'm going to go to my calculator and only round off once at the end. Remember how to press this in. 50 is the same thing as 50 over 1. And when you're pressing fractions into the calculator, it's multiply all the tops. In the top, you have 50 times 21 times pi, and then afterwards divide by whatever your divisors are. Sometimes there's only one, sometimes there's more than one. If you had more than one divisor, the one doesn't matter. So if you had more than one divisor, you would just divide by each one of them one at a time. Okay, so let's put our tops in first, which is 50 times 21 times pi. Pi symbol, second function, pi symbol. Get that number and divide by the 180 that was at the bottom. So this is what we have for an answer, and then you're going to round it off to the designated place in this problem. They've designated 3 decimal places, so 18.326. Okay, and that concludes numbers 1 through 12.